one thing I want to mention as well, when it comes to expanding your thoughts and ideas, you must be able to ask more questions to have a more clear answer, right? Whether whatever thought or idea it is, right? Your ability to ask more questions. So let's just say you have a thought about something. Your ability to think of micro questions that are going to be able to contribute to an overall better answer or a more clear picture of what that answer is going to look like is going to bode you very, very, very well. So, um, or having you have your own personal ideas about certain things or things you're trying to conceptualize within your mind, being able to ask questions about that specific idea, like I said, it's going to give you a more clear picture, and also, like I said, gonna truly battle test your idea, right? If your idea is somewhat presentable or somewhat have actual legitimacy, then you're gonna be able to ask questions based off of that, and you're gonna be able to get answers based off of that for sure. Everyone around me is stupid. You're so lucky. Um, uh, I don't know what to say to that. Gee, I don't know what to say to that, man. Hopefully, yeah, that's a tough existence. I'll say that. I'll just say that. Being around everybody that's stupid, I feel like that's a pessimistic mindset. And here's the thing: I can have that same pessimistic mindset, but like I said, you gotta have utility in everything. You gotta have utility in everything for sure. But yeah, like I said, asking more questions about your own personal ideas and thoughts is gonna be good for expanding. Because like I said, you're gonna battle test it. You're gonna be able to also think thoroughly through, and then you can also do the same thing that I just had mentioned, right? You have a new idea. Let's just say you had a thought, right? And from that thought, you could extract these questions that make that thought a little bit more clear, right? And from those individual things uh, that those questions that you asked to make it more clear, you can ask questions upon those questions. Okay. Now, me describing this to you sounds a lot more complex than what it actually is, right? I'm just expressing what goes on within my own mind. Okay. And it's gonna be a lot more easier done than said. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. Hopefully, you guys understand what I'm trying to talk about. All right, but yeah, asking more questions is also going to help you expand your own ideas and thoughts, and call it whatever you want. It's facts. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, give me 1 second. All right, I want to mention this point. I think this is super, super important, and this is something that I've definitely extracted out of the let's just say content that I've been watching recently, and I do think that it's very, very prevalent, and an actual tragedy. I have mentioned it on a previous podcast before, but when it comes to your expanding your ideas and thoughts, something that you must observe, truly must observe and be a conscious observer of always, is most people don't think anymore, right? This is something that I've seen time and time again within the last 5 years, of being a very, very conscious observer of my own self and my own actions. Is most people don't think, they just repeat what they've heard. And of course, I've done this and been a victim of this time and time again, right? But your ability to critically think, like I had mentioned earlier, when it comes to expanding your own ideas and thoughts, your ability to critically think and truly come up with an answer for your own self, evaluating everything that you can, all the resources that you can, in order to come up to a conclusion on your own self, that's going to dictate a lot more than just that thought alone. So, for example, most people don't think, they just repeat what they've heard. So let's just say that there's something that exists that is something that piques your curiosity of how it was done, right? Your ability to, well, first you could say, oh yeah, it was done. Let's just say you question the legitimacy of anything, okay? Instead of just saying, you know what, that is what it is, and that is what it is, right? You could say, okay, well, let me question the legitimacy of this. Let me question that. Um, Instead of believing exactly what you're told, right? Your ability to expand your own thoughts and ideas will stem from um, being different than those people that are, like I said, just accept exactly what they're told, right? Um, yeah, I would just say just be an observer of those certain types of people, because those certain types of people, I feel like they're going to be closed off to certain type of ideas. And like I said, I don't like to have any closed-minded people around me personally. I don't know about you, but that is just the way I decide to live life. That's tragedy, absolute tragedy. I'm just looking at it, man. Most people don't think; they just repeat what they've heard, man. It's just so tragic. It's so tragic. Getting into the next idea, and the only way to expand your thoughts and ideas is truly by having arguments and having conversations to expand it, right? Um, that is gonna be the main meat to this entire thing, right? Some people they view arguments or situations where, let's just say, you're not in agreement to everything that's being told. I feel like a lot of people they have a negative connotation that they place on those certain conversations, and I do believe that it is going to be an absolute tragedy in the grand scheme of society, because this is why I also believe the fact that people you censoring themselves and truly not letting their own true ideas come out is also a bigger problem. People don't want to have their idea tested, or they don't want to have it tested by the people that test ideas. Let's just say that, for example. But let me get into that a little bit deeper, man. In order to expand your own thoughts and ideas, you must be willing to have arguments, you must be willing to have disagreements, you must be willing to have conversations that may be a little uncomfortable. I'm going to say that for sure, because you must be able to be proven wrong. You must be in a position where you are open-minded enough to maybe you are wrong. Maybe you are not looking at a certain topic a certain way, or maybe that you need to look at it a certain way, right? Um, the fact that the society that we exist in right now, let's just say I have a contradicting idea, or not contradicting idea, idea that's contradicting to your idea or your concept of the idea, right? If we're not able to have discourse about it, if we're not able to truly break down the weak points of each person's argument, because we're too afraid to offend that person, do you see that missing link where we can have a higher intelligence based off of that conversation, or you could just have two separate parties of the conversation being divided, right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like I said, if you understand what I'm trying to say, make sure you go and leave in the comments, man, because that's the way that I personally see it, right? So the only way to expand your ideas and thoughts is to be willing to have those very very difficult or maybe even uncomfortable conversations, because they are needed, and the fact that people aren't having them as much as they used to is a very very big tragedy, because some of the biggest problems that exist within the world will never be truly solved because people are too afraid to have the conversation. People are too afraid to have the disagreement, right? They're too afraid of having these, or want to avoid themselves of the discomfort that will be, just because they want to protect the ears of a person that's next to them, instead of having a stance. Where do you stand? What do you stand for? Right? Questioning the legitimacy of your thoughts is something that you should be done, and only done through conversation, arguments, and disagreements. And if you're not able to have those, and of course, avoiding physical confrontation, but the ability to have those is going to help expand your ideas and thoughts, and that's as simple as that.